Good afternoon, everyone. Hello and welcome to the Soul Food Book Club. I'm Terry Angel here with an amazing family that likes to share together what we are reading and understanding and just hold conversation. I'm here with our Auntie Jean Lorio.
Hello,
Hello.
everyone.
Charlie Coons.
Hello, everyone.
And Aunt Mary Lou.
Namaste, you all.
So we are in the midst of a wonderful book called The Way of the Shaman.
Yes. There you go, Charlie.
There we go. Thank you all for sharing the book. And wow, what a powerful book. What a powerful thing to be studying right now is shamanism, right?
No, I have to be honest. I've always thought that being a shaman, I know this is going to sound nuts, but that being a shaman is pretty easy because if you just have a gift and you know, to help people, you have that, you're born with it, you have it, and you just help people with it. Right. I'm finding out it's not as easy as I thought it was. There's a lot of complications and things that you have to know and do. And so I've really changed my mind about that. You know, it's a tough job being a shaman. So that's one thing I've really been enlightened about in this book.
Yeah, I didn't read much in the past week, but I was to the part where when they connect with their spirit, you know, the animal spirit gods, whatever,
Right.
that they have to practice and to keep them within them. Otherwise, they'll lose them, you know. It's like, wow, I didn't realize that, you know, you had to, you know, do the whole routine every, you know, so often, or the spirit guide will leave you.
I think we could maybe all relate to that because, you know, if we want to keep any spirit within us, we have to connect with them. You know, that's kind of like my definition of prayer is communicating, listening, and talking, you know, to my higher power, you know, to that God within me. Right. So yeah, I guess in a way, Charlie, I guess it would make sense, but the way it's described in the book, it surely does seem like an intense dedication is involved in it. Yeah,
right.
Like
it's almost like they got to do their rituals of, you know, dancing with the rattles and the drum and do that, you know. You know, every, you know, so often, or, you know.
Is that Grace Isis that just came in with us?
Yes, it is.
You know, I wanted to tell her thank you so much because I wasn't able to be with everybody last week here on here, but I did watch it and I just loved what you shared with us, Grace Isis. It's so beautiful, you know, and I, you know, I was thinking about both you and Terry because Terry's telling us that she actually met, you know, a shaman. You know, in our culture, that's rare here in the United States. And then, you know, in how special that is. And then you shared that, you know, you actually have a relative that's a shaman. And I mean, and how you understood that and all. So I just wanted to take a minute to say thank you to you both, you know, for that.
Oh, thank you, Auntie Mary Lou, and thank you for your card, and thank you, Terry. Thank you. Yeah, thank you all for participating because as I said, we all have it. It's just that we're in different parts of the hemisphere.
Yes.
And so, yeah, it's funny because I now know, and I'm still creating my manifestation board.
Right.
Or cards, and that's one thing that I am now realizing that when I go back or with those that I had met while I was in Kenya, there are ways of my particular tribe that we our shamanism that I would like to maybe introduce and use, in a more enlightened and more modern way. So thank you.
I've been
Tell
thinking
me it's
about that.
cold in Scottsdale.
Is it cold?
She's got
A
a
little-
blankie
A
on.
little
Oh.
chilly. The window's open and the sun's not shining in the room, so I'm a little chilly.
Yeah, the windows are open here too.
I was thinking about that too, going back to what Grace Isis just said about, embracing it for ourselves, and I don't think that we're all intended to be a shaman in our culture today. I mean, somebody special might be, but I think for us as individuals, that's exactly, the feelings that I was getting. And I thought, how have I experienced somebody who was a shaman to me? And it brought me to the most simple, beautiful places, like I remember when I was going through a divorce a long time ago, 25 years ago. But I had shamans in my life because my sisters came to the apartment that was an absolute mess, needed to be painted, hadn't been upkept for years and years. There was a big hole in the floor, from one of the puppies that chewed through it. He wasn't a puppy, he was a dog, and they came and they helped me, and they were my shamans, and I think about a friend from church who, I was depressed. It was a big change in my life. And she called me every day and said, are you up? Are you ready to get out and go for a cup of coffee? And just things like that in our everyday life. We do have shamanism within us and around us. Don't you think so, Terry?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we can also call those earth angels, Mary Lou.
Yes.
But yeah, we do have those people.
I only call them shamans because I just said shamans because, we're reading this book.
Yeah, and the way of the shaman is that it's caring, is wanting other people to be uplifted. We talked about that this morning, how, we can affect somebody's life so easily just with an encouraging word, like what you were describing, Mary Lou,
Yes.
with a smile, with warmth. We can change that person's life.
Mhm.
Actually, we can have that much of an influence just by showing them that somebody cares. And that's what the shamans do. They care about others.
Yes, and you are a shaman in this environment with us because look at you, having a cup of morning coffee with so many people every morning and helping them get into a good, positive, loving, light-filled mindset for their day, every day.
Hope is with us. Hope Wellington Marshall from the UK.
Hello.
And she says, I love Mary Lou's interpretation of shamans. Yeah, I do too. I do too. And when I think of a shaman, I think of my shaman that I studied with and was around for years, until the pandemic hit. Every month we met at a park and did a full moon ceremony. And he taught us. He taught us by example, but he also taught the way of the shaman because he studied in the Andes Mountains and he brought that energy here to the States. And his whole essence, everything about him was like his feet didn't touch the ground. When you watched him, when you just saw every movement that he made, it was with purpose and so caring. He really, when he asked you how you were, he meant that. It wasn't just a greeting. He wanted to know how you are. And I think we've lost that art, haven't we? When we just say the words, hi, how are you? And we don't really mean, how are you? It's just a greeting to so many. But when I would watch him interact with all of us that would come there to learn from him and just to be around him, that was the draw, was just that warmth and that caring. And I watched him with each person, and he really meant How are you doing? So I think we can take so much lessons from that, just to live our life in that way. And no, we don't have to be a full shaman with all of the things that they go through to, develop and to be that, but we can have that essence. All of us can develop that caring ability and to really want to know how each other are doing. And you mentioned the morning show, Mary Lou, and to me, it's checking in, it's seeing how's everybody doing? Are you okay? Do you need something? And that's what we need more of in the world. We need more of just saying to each other, you're not alone. Right. You are not alone. We're right here with you. Whatever it is, maybe we can't be there physically to help out, but we can certainly lift you up in prayer. We can certainly hold you in our heart and share our love with you. And that's shamanism. You're right. That's what it is. They live their life to do that, to care for others. And it reminds me of the monks. I just really see that similarity of the shamans and the monks. It's that same dedication. It's that same heartfelt, I want to be of service. The shamans are of service.
Yeah.
And that's what sets them apart, I think, from some of the other spiritual leaders. They just live to serve. So thank you.
And that great respect, that they have for all creation, for all of nature, for the sun and the moon and the stars and the trees and the flowers and the birds. And if it's okay, on page 55, me, I like all the poetry type expressions in any book. And it says, the things a shaman sees, everything that is alive. On a sleep river bank, there's a voice that speaks. I've seen the master of that voice. He bowed to me. I spoke with him. He answered all my questions. Everything that is alive. Little gray bird, little blue breast, sings in a hollow bough. She calls her spirits, dances, sings her shaman songs. Woodpecker on a tree, that's his drum. He's got a drumming nose, and the tree shakes, and he cries out like a drum when the axe bites its side. All these things answer my call. Everything that is alive. The lantern walks around. Walls of this house have tongues. Even this bowl has its own true home. The hides asleep in their bags. I don't understand that line. We're up talking all night. What is the hides? So anyway, I'll keep reading them. The hides asleep in their bags. We're up talking all night. Antlers on the graves rise and circle the mounds while the dead themselves get up and go visiting the living ones. Isn't that amazing?
I wonder if the hides are what the bags are made of.
Oh, maybe. The lanterns walks around the walls of the house have tongues. Even this bowl has its own true home. The hides asleep in their bags were up talking all night. I wasn't sure what the hides was, but everything else.
They used to use hides for blankets.
Right.
You know, and I think some of the people who are closer to the earth still probably do.
And like a sleeping bag.
Yeah.
Okay.
They would cover themselves with the hides of different animals, Yeah.
It's just so beautiful.
They didn't waste any part of the animal. If they used the animal for food, they used every part of it, to make whatever they needed.
Yeah.
And how the birds. Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No,
I was just going to say, I think it's like sacrilege for them not to use all the parts, to leave anything for waste, because they've taken a life. So,
Yes, but just the respect, for everything. everything is alive, and he talked about the birds, and I loved that, that they did their own drumming against the trees, for their, because we all need that rhythm, right? It reminds us of the rhythm within us. That's what the drumming is to remind us of that constant rhythm, and the beating of our heart is ongoing and eternal. It's beautiful. And it made me happy because this week Barry came back from Vermont and said he saw some robins up in Vermont already. That's rare in February.
Yeah, it is.
Oh.
Yeah.
And in Vermont.
Especially with, it's still icy and snowy.
Yeah.
And interesting that you read that, Mary Lou, because I'm here with Sharon Rhea in Arizona, right outside of Phoenix. And she's been seeing a lot of woodpeckers lately.
Oh.
And so she actually looked up what that means, what woodpeckers represent. And to me, I didn't look it up, but I said, well, to me, they represent persistence. When they sense that there's something inside of that tree that they need to get to, and they don't give up. They keep going until they find it. And I think that's just a part of them, of that whole species, is survival and intuitively knowing how to find their food. Yes. But I love the woodpecker energy, and she's got the big ones here. I've seen 2 of those in my lifetime. They call them the pileated woodpeckers that are really big, and they're majestic looking when you see the size of them. But to me, they represent persistence. Just keep going, keep looking at what you're looking for, and you're going to find it.
They are persistent. You can ask Meg about that, because they've got so many holes in their house from the woodpeckers. The little bugs get in their house is made of, I guess, like stucco, and the little bugs get in there, and the woodpeckers come and find the little bugs. And so about every year they have to fix the holes in their house.
They also go after cactus. I've watched them on cactus before. I'm like, ooh, how do you do that without getting stuck?
Amazing.
They know how. There are actually birds that build nests in cactus.
Really?
Yeah, and that amazes me. I'm like,
they must have tough skin on them.
Yeah, I guess that would be the safest place for you to be if you're going to be down low building a nest. But I had read that before, that this one particular bird, I can't remember now what the name of it was, but they'll build a nest in the cactus plant.
Wow.
I keep doing that to you, Mary Lou. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, wow.
Oh. What I was going to say is I think we've all met on occasion, maybe not often, but people who we feel are really connected to the earth and really respectful of everything, and I wanted to kind of get back onto the spirit animals, wondering if any of you have a spirit animal that you know about, because I've always had an animal that I see all the time and follows me around, and it's not the skunk. That's Meg's joke that the skunks come out when I come, but I see wolves all the time, and I feel the essence of the wolf so strongly. I've always felt that. And but I've been surprised because he says they come and go, and it's been most of my life I've felt the wolf. So, and it seems like people shy away from the wolf, having him as a spirit guide. I think I read somewhere that wolves will lead you when you die, lead you that, you know, a lot of the natives, Americans, and that believe that wolves lead you through your passage when you pass. So I don't know if that's why, but yeah, I've always felt strongly about the wolves. Have you got an animal, Mary Lou, that you feel a connection to?
I keep trying to find if I have I'm wondering, is it possible for you to have different ones, you know, because at different times in my life, you know, I have felt when I first met Barry and I learned all about his reverence for hunting and, you know, and I felt very connected to deer at that time. You know, that was about 15 years ago. And it's funny because a friend of mine made, hold on a second, you be chatting. I want to go get something to show you.
Okay.
Jean, I'm with you. The wolf has always followed me and intrigued me. And when I hear the wolf howl, it's like I have to howl with them. You know, it's
yeah,
that
you really want to, don't you?
Yeah, you know, they're pack animals. So they're not loners. And when they do the howl, they're calling their family, they're calling their other pack members. And I feel that. I feel like they're calling me. So I want to howl back at them, you know, and say, I'm here, I'm here. But to get to what Mary Lou was saying, I'm sorry, Jean,
No.
you know, it's just what the shaman was saying, that they come and go.
They come and go.
And that happens with some of our spirit guides as well, especially the ascended masters. They're going to come when we need them, whatever that is. If we need a teaching, if we need guidance, you know, they're going to come in, and then they may not stay. They may come in just for that season, just to be that stronghold for us at that time. So Mary Lou, I totally get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Is that it may not be the same one your whole life.
You know, yeah. And remember in my poetry book, I wrote that poem and I compared my parents to deer.
Right.
You know, I feel like there's some special connection with me with deer, you know, but this past week I went to visit a friend of mine, and it's I'm not marketing. I promise I'm not marketing or promoting. But, you know, I do crafting, you know, and we use a lot of glue and we recommend different glue to each other. This is called Barely Art Precision Craft Glue. And her sister does art. She does jewelry making. And there's a cap that goes on the top of the glue, and you're always losing it. You're taking the cap off and losing it. So the two of them created, let me put the glue down now. They created this piece of jewelry.
Oh my God.
And the little, you know, the needle goes into the top part. And so you've got this beautiful piece of jewelry so that you never lose the pin. You know, that keeps it, you know, from to keep it from, and they created that, you know. And so I was visiting with her last week, and she had all different kinds, all different colors. One was just as beautiful as the other. I was attracted to the purple with the light purple and the dark purple. And I was attracted to the red and the pink because it's February. But, you know, blue has always been a go-to. And then at the end of the blue was this little friend. Can you see what it is? It's a turtle.
Turtle.
And I picked him up and I could not put him down. He's adorable. He's so cute. And I said, I'm supposed to just have him with me. And I felt like that. And I started thinking about, you know, and I think it's a spirit animal for me for this past week, every day, because I've been thinking about, you know, turtles and how, you know, they're slow, but they often win. They win that race, and it's given me a sense of patience, you know, that everything doesn't have to happen today, that, you know, you just do it in perfect timing and God's timing, and to be persistent, like you said earlier, Terry, you know, and all those words have been meaningful to me this week, and because of this little spirit animal.
He's gorgeous.
He's so cute. And he really is very, very pretty. I don't know. I'm trying to.
Oh, you can see his blues. Is he made out of lapis, or what is he made?
I don't know. he's made of. Her sister,
Beautiful.
I'm
Was it
hiding his little head, you know.
selenite or something like that?
And then look at this other pretty bead that's on here. What is this one all about?
Oh, that's a glass blown bead.
Yeah, it's
Somebody
beautiful,
made that.
isn't it?
Mhm.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my spirit animal. How about you, Charlie? Do you have, any thoughts on spirit animal?
I thought I was the deer too, just like you. But I've seen a lot of rabbits, and then I picked up a rock like it told us to do, and sit with the rock and study it. And I seen the rabbits, and rabbits have become a symbol of rebirth in many modern societies. So it's, I went up to heaven and came back, so that's like a rebirth. So it's sort of like and it's also, the meaning includes sensitivity, and I'm sensitive as anything, gentleness, new beginnings, the moon, and good luck. And I've had all of them. So, I've connected with the rabbit, I think, is really at this time in my life, like you said, it can change and they can come and go, but I really believe that right now my spiritual is the rabbit.
Yeah, I think many people think of good luck when they think of rabbits.
Right. Yeah.
There's such an abundance.
Right.
Yours is the elephant, isn't it, Gracie?
Oh, Auntie Jean, how did you remember?
I see you on top of the elephant.
No, it's amazing. And I kept wondering, I'm like, and I would sleep and I would see the elephant just walking very slow, but it's walking. And I'm like, where is it going? And then I would see the eye, and the eye of the elephant is the same size as the human eye. And I would see it, and I realized they do say that with the elephant, there's strength, power, wisdom, intuition. I don't know about longevity, maternal motherliness, stability in our lives, not right now, but yeah, and physical strength and invulnerability, endurance, and a desire to live a long life. A reminder that life is like a circus, sometimes crazy, but full of wonder and Mother Earth. It's amazing because I didn't understand it myself. And then I realized, because sometimes we're told in your silence is your strength. And I do remember for quite a while, I just used to keep quiet because I was like, I cannot lose my British accent because I'm not American. From England. So I used to keep quiet and say very little, but I realized what it was cultivating the strength and the courage that is within, and that comes from silence. And it's true, because not every conversation has to be responded to. And then I also do see the horse. I'm always seeing a black horse running. I'm like galloping. It's like, yeah, I don't know where it is flying.
I get her elephants for
Beautiful, Charlie.
Yeah, but thank you, Charlie. But that has been mine. It's and I understood. Elephants, and I think also because in my childhood, one of the we had people who looked after us in the house, and our cook used to go off to see his family, and it would be a 2-day trip. And there's certain points where he got to where there were no roads and you can't go by bus. So he has to trek on foot. And, you wouldn't know that they got there unless somebody else was coming back into the city, and they would have a message saying, oh, so-and-so is on his, arrived home safely, and vice versa. And there was I think his brother went home and never returned, or the message never came back, and he had actually been killed by, I think it was by elephants. But on the way back, somebody went in, and elephants always bury their dead. They put sticks and then they come back, and that's how they found him. So there are these also stories that go on where the elephant is so gentle, with its foot, it can just go over a bone without even crushing it. And then we also see them climbing up the mountains. They go on their forefront. They're at an angle. So they're on their knees in the front, and their back is, they're standing up. And that's how they climb up the mountains of the mountains where my tribe lives, Kikuyu. So you're always like, how can elephants be all the way up there? And then when they come down, they like flatten everything. So for me, unbeknownst to me, yes, that is my power animal. That is my guiding animal. So thanks for allowing me to tell you.
Gracie, I was just thinking, I'm sorry, Talia, I was thinking, you mentioned the two animals, the elephant and then a horse. And think of how very different those two animals are. And, the elephant slow and steady pace, and then the horse galloping.
Yes.
So look at the contrast in that of the two animals that you feel are guiding you.
Yes. And boy, and it's funny because in some of our meditations, I do see I'm constantly always riding a horse, sometimes like Joan of Arc or into war. And I'm always like, so what is the symbolism? Perhaps it's for me to just go forth, gallop, gallop, gallop. I don't know. I'll have to have a session with Terry for that interpretation.
I think
go deeper.
Mm-hmm.
I think the horse is a representation of your wild side. I think you have a real wild, adventurous side. Because all the time that I've been with you in meditations, and you're always riding this horse, like you just have all this energy to go, go, go. I think it kind of represents that part of you, Gracie.
I think so. Thank you, Auntie Jean, for allowing me.
And both the elephant and the horse work with humans.
Yes.
They're both very helpful to humans. And they both, I think, have sensitivity as to who is good and who is not so good. They both seem to pick up on that. You'll have horses that there'll be people that they'll just won't even come close to. And then they have people that they'll just run up to, and I think the elephant's the same way. He can tell whether a person is going to treat him or be nice to him or it's going to be mean to him. So I think there's a lot of similarities as well as differences in the two animals.
The only difference is that the African elephant is wild. It's out in the wild. And the Indian one has been domesticated. But, I believe that in spirit, we can communicate to nature, we can communicate to animals, because even plants will listen to you. And if you communicate with the elephant, you do have to keep your distance, because there have been incidences where tourists have gone up and they've gone to the elephant, and next thing the trunk is around their waist, they're flung up, and it hasn't been a very good encounter. So these are our savanna elephants, and they're pretty wild. But it's this whole with the concept and knowing that on this journey spirit is everywhere, in the plants, even in the animals, and we always see it with our pets. How come we don't use language with our little dogs and our cats, our furry family? But sometimes they just know when we're even thinking. They'll come to us, or they'll understand vocabulary. So with the elephant, I wouldn't go up to the elephant in that sense. However, there was a time for my birthday, we went to the national park, and Kenya is one of those countries that is known to have a national park that's right on the outskirts of the city. So you're seeing the wild animals, but in the background are these high rises, these skyscrapers. So when we went in there, we were trying to look for lions, a pride of lions. And I told my sister, hold on, let me ask these buffalo and these zebras if they know. And I just went into a meditation, and it was thank you. And I just said, if you know where there are the lions, just turn. And of course, we sat there for like about 10, 15 minutes. And I was like, but one of them turned. And I told my sister, let's follow. And we went there. There was a pride of 5 lions there. So, I mean, we were in the car that time. Yeah. So thank you. Yes. I think it just makes us realize that we're all spirit, even our
And
plant.
that concept that you had of the difference of the greatness of their size, and yet the gentleness within their spirit, within their beings, and their ability to control that. It's beautiful to think of. Wasn't there a fable about a lion and a mouse?
Yes.
And how the lion protected the mouse?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's amazing, because when we used to travel from the capital, which is 5,000 feet above sea level, all the way to the coast, the Indian Ocean. And around there's certain parts where you're driving, and it's known to be the elephant, like you can see elephant sightings. And so we'd all be in the car, and then my mom spots one, and she goes, there's one right over there. And sometimes it'd be right on the roadside waiting to cross. And so my father would go off the road, sort of park, and then just keep hooting to aggravate the elephant. And they're huge. And then it would just shake its head and then come as though it's going to attack. And we'd be like, no, let's go. So I've had some interesting.
Playing with you.
Oh, yes. So that's a trip for all of you to come to Kenya. You've got to all go on a safari, and not at Great Adventure or Six Flags. But that's good.
I go to Kenya.
Well,
I'd love
Let's
to
go.
go to Kenya.
Let's go, my travel companion.
Okay, let's go.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Be wonderful.
well, I
It's
can
so
see
beautiful.
Gracie being the elephant because of the wisdom and the many lives she's lived and everything, and she's got all the characteristics from the elephant. It's like, strength, power, wisdom, intuition, longevity, material instinct, motherliness, stability in our lives, physical strength, and endurance and desire to live a long life. A reminder that life is like a circus, sometimes crazy, but full of wonder and Mother Earth. Yeah. So I see all of them in Grace.
What's your spirit animal, Carrie?
Mine's the wolf.
Wolf.
Yeah.
The wolf. We're
Yeah.
both wolves. We're in the same pack.
I just heard a wolf. I heard a
Wow.
wolf on my Facebook page today. I don't know why somebody posted a howling wolf,
Yeah.
just because of the beauty of it, and Barry and I
Right.
had a conversation about it this morning about, how they talk to one another. You'll often hear one howl and then another howls back to them.
That's
I
how
wonder
they
what they
find.
were saying.
That's how they find their pack. If one member wanders away from the pack, they howl to let it know where they're at, so it can find its way back. There's a wolf conservatory in New York, somewhere in New York, and they have a webcam, and they're always showing the wolves. They're so beautiful. These are protected animals, and so they give them names, and they, of course, have their own personality. And I watch it a lot, and I post it a lot, Mary Lou. It may have been where you came across it, because I always share their messages, because these are protected animals, and now there's so much going on with in certain places, they want to kill the population off. And that just hurts my heart so much when I see things like that.
Yeah.
So I always try to bring that to everyone's attention of what's happening so we can make our voice be heard. You know, we can be the, like Karen Palmer says, the voice of the voiceless, and let other people know that this is just not right. You know, that's their natural habitat. Why would man go in and kill an animal off that lives there on the land? So just my 2 cents worth, I think that we should leave nature alone and just let it play out the way it's supposed to play out.
Absolutely.
Then they're sorry. Usually they're sorry because then the others, the wolves, people misunderstand wolves. Well, Terry's heard my soapbox speech before, but the wolves actually are good for the animals that they kill, because they kill the sick and the weak.
Yes.
And it keeps the herd healthy, and it keeps everything in balance. And they go in and they kill the wolves, and then the herds become weak and sick, or they overpopulate an area, and then they're all sorry because they've got too many deer or whatever it is, and then they're sorry that they killed the wolves. But I'll argue with people about wolves because they don't understand them. They'll say they're mean and they attack people. No, they don't. That's the last thing. I'm not saying that a wolf can have rabies or be sick. They can, but they don't attack people.
There was a great documentary about that very thing, you know, in a certain part of the United States where they were, you know, they weren't happy because they were eating livestock and things like that. And so they allowed the hunting, and they diminished the herd of the wolves so much that it affected all of nature. And little by little, they began placing them back into certain places and waited for them to, you know, and have babies and grow their herd back. I don't know if a coyote do they have herds, but they're
all pack animals.
They're packs, yeah. You know, and it was a proponent. This documentary was a proponent to leave the wildlife. Let them figure things out.
Exactly. Yeah. If you've ever watched any of the documentaries on animals in the wild, they do exactly that. They do what needs to be done in nature. Yes. And we don't, as humans, we don't see that angle. You know, we don't see what they see. And I've watched them in the past where I'm like, oh, how could they kill that sweet animal? But we don't know that might have been like what Jean was saying. It might have been one of the weak ones, and it was just meant to be. So yeah, I say just leave nature alone. It's going to take care of itself, you know, whatever that looks like. And here we come in and we're making them endangered species now because we've killed them off, you know, and there's none left. Yeah. And we have Erica with us. I want to just say hello to Erica.
Hi, Erica. Hey. Why are you not here? Why aren't you on?
She's probably at work. I think she's at work.
Oh, we miss you so much. We love you.
Terry, did you, sorry guys, to go back to the book. Terry, did you mention about the guardian spirit? Because I think it's on page 59. Did you read that, Auntie Mary Lou, or no?
I think I did. Let me see.
Right. Is that where you came up with the animal power animal?
That was 57.
Yeah, that was.
Because 59 says the best known way to acquire a guardian spirit, which is what the shaman, I think he said the shaman is here. Which is really what the shaman actually, whatever it is called, which is really the fundamental source of power for the shaman's functioning, right? So it says the best known way to acquire a guardian spirit is in a spirit quest in a remote place in the wilderness. The location may be a cave, the top of a mountain, or a tall waterfall, or an isolated trail at night, as among the Jivaro, right? There are also involuntary as well as special shamanic ways to secure a guardian spirit. And as Terry said, that's really a shaman travels with his guardian spirit, which we all do too. It says, the guardian spirit is often a power animal, a spiritual being that not only protects and serves the shaman, but becomes another identity or alter ego for him. So perhaps that's where you have those ones who can tend to go more in the light, which we are all, aspire to, or sometimes thither and lull in the dark. But I thought that was very interesting. So the fact that a person has a guardian spirit does not in itself make him a shaman. So I guess it's just gives us a real, I thought that was interesting. So it says the main difference between an ordinary person and a shaman with regards to their guardian spirit is that the shaman uses his guardian spirit actively when in an altered state of consciousness. The shaman frequently sees and consults with his guardian spirit, travels with it on the shamanic journey, has it help him, and uses it to help others to recover from illness and injury. So perhaps, you know what, we do have a shaman amongst us. What is it called? Time heals. Yeah.
Yeah, it reminded me of this one place he's talking about in the book. And he says, finally, I should state, if it is not already obvious, that I practice shamanism myself, not because I understand in OSC terms why it works, but simply because it does work. And I think that's what we all feel into. It's not that we might understand something fully as far as the inner workings of it, but we know that it's right. Our soul feels that it's right. And that's how shamanism is. That's how our spirit guides us, is through knowingness that we are in divine plan, we are in divine time, and that we're exactly where we're supposed to be. And if we're not, we know it. We know that we're like that one little wolf that wandered off from the pack, and the pack is calling it back. So we get that intuitively. We get that knowledge. Oh, we're not where we're supposed to be, but let me figure it out here. Let me see how I find my way back to where I belong. And to me, it's like that's what happened with all of us coming together as a family. We, the howl was put out, and all of the little wolves said, oh, I'm supposed to be over there. And so everybody gathered together in one place because they felt that that's where they were supposed to be in divine time. Yeah, I love how that works. And I love his words there. He says, but don't take my word for it. Truly significant shamanic knowledge is experienced and cannot be obtained from me or any other shaman. So it's our inner shaman. That's what's coming out for all of us, understanding this a little bit more, I think. And so grateful for this book, and grateful that this is what we're focused on right now. It's not just a shaman. We're focused on that inner shaman that's in each of us. And I love that. I love that we're all growing from the books that we read. Isn't that amazing how that works?
There's always something in every book.
Yeah.
And it's like you get the feeling, like I can say I love you, but if people say that all the time and they don't feel it, just take the few seconds and feel it,
It's like what you said, that people say, how are you? Just as how are you doing? Just as a polite greeting.
Right.
And what do? We say fine. Even if we're miserable, we say fine. I'm fine, But with the shaman, And what we're learning is you do it with genuine care about that person. And that's what the morning show does, because you don't see people just saying, I'm fine on the morning program. They tell you, they explain, well, this has been happening in my life or that. And then they get all the love and healing energy from everybody that's there. But I wanted to point out, to back up what Linda said last time, is that the similarities between all these cultures all over the world, you know, just makes you realize how real shamanism is. Like the canoe, the boats. Did you get that far where they talked about when a lot of shamans go together and they imagine a canoe or a boat going into the underworld? I thought that was so wonderful. I like the idea of several of them working to help one person. You know, I thought that was beautiful. And that all of them have it somewhere in their, you know, in their teachings. They have it.
Wouldn't it be amazing if the next time somebody says that, how are you, to you, you took a moment to respond? Like, well, now that you've asked, let me tell you how I am. And I think it would, if we all did that, it would create that energy of, oh, look at what I'm asking. You know, it's not just a greeting at all. It's like a really wanting to know how each other is doing a little check-in. So if somebody says that to you, next time anybody says that to you, just do that. Just say, well, let me tell you how I'm doing.
Oh, yeah.
That's like with chanting every night. I wait till I feel the peace.
That's true.
He does, sometimes a half an hour, you know.
Yeah, we're already off the air and Charlie's feeling the peace.
But he has a point, just like when you talked about when you tell someone, I really love you, or I really am grateful to you, or whatever, we don't take the time to let that sit and resonate. We just go on our way, you know.
When people do that to me on the phone and they're ready to hang up, no, wait a minute. You got to do that over again. And I make them say it again. And I said, well, wait, and you got to feel it now. And I make them, and they kind of learn, you know.
Yeah. You know, the angels talked to me about that, about I love you, and how sometimes we hear it different ways when people say it. But if we focus on the you instead of the other two words, we really get it, don't we? If just think about it. If somebody says, I love you, that focus is on that person. It's not, it's not about you at all. And if they say, I love you, then the focus is on the energy of love. But if they say, I love you, then you feel it. You feel that love coming and flowing into you. So yeah, like Charlie was saying, feel it, feel the words of what's being said or what you're saying. If you're saying it to somebody, what are you emphasizing? Are you putting the spotlight on you, on the love, or on that person? And that's a powerful thing to feel into that. And I think that's what the shamans do. They feel into everything they say, everything they teach. It's not just about semantics. It's all about the energy. Where's the energy placed? And I think that's the difference in a shaman and somebody that is not totally awake and aware of their inner shaman yet. It's
I read
that.
On that line, Terry, again today, I read that in order to find your own self, you need to empty yourself. And that's what the shamans do. They go into that place within themselves, and a seed needs to be in a dark place. And there was several other examples. I don't know, like an olive can only turn into oil if it's pressed, and a diamond has to go through a turmoil in order to come out as the coal changes into the diamond. And it's all along that same concept, I think, that the shaman lives, is he denies himself in order to do for others. Yeah. Not deny, but consciously places himself in a state, I would say.
But
I don't think it's a denial.
No, the focus is on the other person or
Right.
group of people, humanity or whatever. It's not about, self. It's being selfless and seeing other people as important. Yeah, you're right, Mary Lou. Thank you. What a beautiful conversation today. And this book, I think, just takes us really deeper into this human experience so that we can see each other as important and beautiful and wonderful. We see whatever we want to see in the world. What we focus on expands. And if we want to see horror and, things bad happening, we're going to see that. And the more we focus on that, the more of it we're going to see. But like the shamans, if you see everyone as a beautiful energy walking around in this world, and the animals as something to be respected and honored, then, we're going to see more of that. We're going to focus our lives on more of that. So beautiful. I love this. I love this book. I love the discussion. Every week we don't want to stop talking. It's like, I look at the time and I'm going, oh my gosh, we got to get off of here. But that's what this brings us to, isn't it? That beautiful place of just wanting to stay in that energy. That's how I am anyway. I just want to stay in that energy and stay in it with all of you. So thank you all.
Linda. Oh,
okay. Linda, Christina, Christina.
But I think Linda said that she had a doctor's appointment with her husband. And I think Christina's still, in the healing, phase, she's going for physical therapy and everything. Yeah. She's got a lot to take care of, and she's doing a good job in it, I think.
Yeah. She was with us this morning on the morning show. That was so good to see her there. Yeah, but Linda wasn't. We've been missing her for a couple of days.
She slept late. She got up.
Yeah.
She always has such insight. I just love her insight. And you too, Mary Lou. I mean, well, we're all having lots of good insight.
I think, that's the power of the book club, especially this book club, and wanting to not just, I love reading books for fun, but we like to really delve into what we're reading and studying, and wherever we're guided to go with that next book, it's always something that's different and exciting. I love that. And I don't know what our next book is. If anybody knows, let me know. I'm not sure. But I know we have to get off of here and end the program for today. And thank you all for being here. Thank you for your insights and your wisdom and just the love that's been shown here together, and seeing each other as a loving person, as a friendly person in a friendly universe. And let's keep looking at it that way. Let's keep looking at our world as something to be enjoyed and not a hostile environment. So thank you all for joining in with us. We love you so much. Thank you for being part of our book club. And we'll be back next week to do it all over again. So come and join us, and think about coming on the Zoom with us. We'd love to have more on here to add your voice to ours and your opinions. It's so beautiful when other people speak up instead of one person. Yeah, and that's the beauty of this club. We all do speak up. We all do make our voice heard. So thank you for doing that. And we always leave everyone with
Namaste.
Day, y'all. Have a beautiful, blessed day wherever you
Nice
are.
day, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Love you.
Bye, Grace.
And good night to our Hope and Zena. Thank you for joining
Good
us.
night.